What's going on, Nerd Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Book Nerd Nation. I'm Fox2. Let's jump right in with the introductions. Today I'm here with DePirate.
Hey guys.
Topher.
Hey everybody.
Unfortunately, the whole effing Brian is sick today. He couldn't be with us, but we do have a very special guest with us today. He has worked on a ton of stuff across the board. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Sean Forney. Did I say that right, Sean?
She did.
Okay, good.
I'm a comic book artist, freelance illustrator. Like you said, I've worked on everything across the board. I've worked on Bakugan, Spider-Man, G.I. Joe, Voltron, Grim Fairy Tales, and the list keeps going.
Oh man, you're hitting close to home. G.I. Joe and Voltron. That's some good stuff. That's some throwback stuff. Makes me remember back to the old.
Right in the childhood.
Yeah, right. Hit me right in the childhood. Just where I like it. That's awesome. Well, you've worked on so many things, like you said, from Grim Fairy Tales all the way over to the opposite end of the spectrum, Spider-Man and G.I. Joe, Voltron and stuff. What if you had to pick one project that you worked on? What was for you like one of the more memorable?
Probably the most memorable would be that Spider-Man project I did. It was first chance to get to work on something that was Marvel. Spider-Man was always my favorite character growing up. It was a licensed kid book for a company over in Australia, and it was I think a 20-some page book where if you purchased it, you could have your kid's name put in the story, and the kid followed around with Spider-Man on his adventure for the day, fighting Dr. Octopus, and I forget what else is in there. So it was just a fun experience getting to work on that and get to work on my favorite character.
Was it like an ongoing project, where they would submit, here's my kid, draw Joey into this for me?
It was a one-time deal, and when you place the order, you give them your kid's name, where they're from, and all this kind of stuff. And they work it in the story. They basically had fill-in-the-blank type stuff in the script to work it in. And there was supposed to be a spot where, the photo or artwork of the kid could be included, but they never ended up using that part. So there was 2 pages that I worked on that were never used.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's really neat. That's a neat concept.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being as a child. I mean, I'm obviously a man-child. I've got all kinds of.
I'm an adult now. I want to be in a
I know. Right.
How do I get this?
Topher, go ahead. Toss me a question.
So, it seems like you've worked with a lot of different companies. How is it for all of us who don't, get to be a part of the industry, how is it working for one of the smaller publishers, versus the big two? You do some work for Marvel, do the other ones that aren't in the big two, are they really happy doing what they're doing? Do they want to kind of break out and make it big? What's the difference in the atmosphere working, for 2 different kinds of companies?
Well, the stuff I did Marvel was licensed, so it was going through a third party, and different experience because it wasn't so much about hitting a deadline to get out a book monthly. It was just, here's the deadline, do the project, finish it. Some of the smaller companies, some experiences was trying to hit an insane deadline. It was here's 20 pages that need to be colored by the end of the week, and no ifs, ands, or buts. They had to be done so that they could make it to print on time. And yeah, some of the smaller companies, they're always striving to, reach bigger heights, get out and, claim that territory that Marvel and DC seem to have control of. So it's an interesting mix. And I've worked from everything from an independent creator hiring me out to whether it's draw or color a book to some of the bigger companies. For example, when I worked with a lot of the Bakugan stuff, that was just an insane amount of work, just getting sent 30 different images to ink and color in a week or 2 weeks. They needed all the cards so that they could go into production.
Is this a card game? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Bakugan. Is that
it's like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or one of those type of things. A couple years ago, it was
toy line, right?
Yeah, it was a little toy where it was these little marble type things that opened up, and it looked like a Pokemon type monster. and each one of them came with a card or a couple cards explaining what they did. And I've never played it, so I don't know exactly how it worked, but somehow the toy was involved because it had some sort of magnetic feature that made it pop open when you rolled it, and then you used the cards to determine like what kind of strength or power or whatever that they had to play the game.
I gotcha. That's pretty cool. And you did the artwork for the cards then?
Yeah, I did it for almost 3 years. It was like 2.5, 3 years. That basically every card that came in those packages, I had some involvement on it.
Now, do you have kids?
That's cool.
No.
I was gonna say that would be cool to have, like, you know what I mean, like your child be into
I made
something
this.
like
Play
that.
with it.
Yeah, here, go play with this.
Now, my really good friend, his son was really into it while I was working on it, so he was just excited as all get out when
awesome.
I got him some cards and some toys, and I was like, hey, I worked on these. His dad was also a comic book artist, so he was used to it. He was kind of cool with it.
That's awesome. Pirate?
I really want to ask you about the Scarlet Huntress. How's that project working out for you? Because I haven't got to read the first two, but because there was quite a few years between 1 and 2, and then you did, I think there was like the guide to the Cryptides, and how's that evolution going with that comic and that project? Because you had a Kickstarter project with that, didn't you?
Yes, it did. To backtrack, yes, there was a big stretch of time between issue 1 and 2. Scarlet Huntress started out as a project that I got asked to contribute to an anthology. There was a publisher out of Cincinnati area that he had asked me to do some trading card artwork for his book, and he was putting together the anthology, asked me if I wanted to contribute to it, and just over a phone call, my, at the time, fiance and I came up with the character and came up with like a short 4 or 5 page story. I developed the character, and then they did the second issue of the anthology, and it was a crossover between our character, Scarlet Huntress, and the publisher's character, Trixie Girl, and they hired Chad Lambert to write the story. So we did a little crossover story. Again, it was like a 5-page short story. We decided then to take Scarlet Huntress and do an issue 1. It was a kind of a one-shot idea at first. I think it was 18 pages that we started off with. It was originally supposed to go through that same publisher that we had done the anthology stuff with, but they had some troubles and whatnot, and it didn't end up working out, so we published it. The first one that we released was 2006, so that was like an issue 1. We kept getting asked, hey, you're going to do another story, you're going to continue it, and all this, and basically because my wife and I were doing that in between our regular jobs. She's a teacher, and I do all the freelance work, so it was just difficult finding time to make the time to put into creating a book that we thought was worth publishing and printing and all that. And the same thing from issue 2 up until we just recently did the Kickstarter. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit behind on putting out the book, but I've only got a handful of pages to finish off, get off to the printer. My goal is by the end of the week to have that off to the printer, hopefully have them for start of my convention season here, late March, early April. We wanted to kind of continue on the story from what we had from issue 1 and 2, but with the book that we did through the Kickstarter, we're actually including 2 other stories that might be a little bit out of continuity in some sorts. One's written by my good friend Brian Borgman, who actually licensed out Scarlet and some of the werewolves for his game Kaiju Chaos. So we're doing a short little like 5-page story where Scarlet is in the Kaiju Chaos world working with some of his characters to go and take down some of these werewolves and some other cryptids. And then the other story that's in there is the larger story that's in the anthology that we're doing ourselves, written by John Barker. He's written some other stuff for Arcana and a few other small press publishers. He and I met through a mutual friend. He was really intrigued by the character, wanted to do something with it. He came up with this great story where Scarlet goes over to Siberia and comes across the shug monkey. And so it's an interesting little take of where Scarlet gets to fight a different type of cryptid. And you also brought up the Field Guide to Cryptid book that we did. That was basically something we came up with some stories. Buddy and I were sitting around and it's like, hey, where do all these things fit in with the werewolves and the other creatures that Scarlet fights? So my wife and I and a few others got together, came up with some different stories of what we wanted to do, and then I had a bunch of friends all contribute artwork and made it basically Scarlet's journal, her personal book of all the creatures she comes across. And we're going to try to find some ways to work that into some future stories. That one was kind of our key to going to San Diego a couple of years back. We wanted a new book, but we knew we didn't have enough time to completely draw, ink, so on and so forth, a new book. So that was kind of a quick way to put together something new. So we had something for San Diego.
Now, is any of this stuff currently is this all out of print stuff, or is there any way to, like if a fan listening to the show, if there any way for them to acquire it, like via website or anything like that?
Yeah, I have copies that I sell because it was nothing we ever distributed through Diamond, so you can't walk into most comic book stores and pick up. A few local Columbus stores might have some, but they can order it through Drive-Thru Comics. They can order a digital version. It's like 99 cents for a download of a PDF. Or I have a store envy set up. I think the URL is seanforney.storeenvy.com. They can go through, place an order for the books. I think right now I'm sold out of issue 2, but I should be having those in the next week or so.
Oh, cool.
That's so awesome. Just hearing the you just hear my jaw dropping over here as I'm listening to the development of this whole storyline. And I think it's really cool, in particular, how you were able to, pull your wife in and your friends and stuff, and kind of collaborate. And that's something that you'll be able to look back on later and be like, man, we all kind of pulled together and did this. That's something pretty cool.
So you said that you got you're Scarlet Huntress, and you said when you did some work on with Spider-Man, that he was one of your favorite characters, growing up and whatnot. Like, what's more fun, like getting to be a part of some huge character that's had a life of its own for years, or seeing one of your own creation come to fruition? Like, I imagine they're rewarding in different ways. Like, is there one that you like better?
I don't know if I can really pick and say I like one better. It's kind of like that thing where people are always talking about trying to pick their favorite kid or something.
Right.
I like them for their different reasons. Spider-Man.
Most of them have one. They just don't want to actually say it.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I love working on the stuff that I grew up on. Even if it's just something I'm doing for fun, if it's not something I'm doing for a publisher or a hired project, I still love to sit down and draw. I see the He-Man print sitting in the background there. I mean, I'm a huge He-Man nut.
You drew that.
Staring.
I actually met you at Cincinnati Comic Con last September, and I bought these off of you, and you signed both of them for me.
Yeah, and He-Man. I mean, I did that because I'm a huge nut for He-Man. I'm sitting here staring at my toy case that's filled with the Masters of the Universe classics that Mattel's been re-releasing with all the new sculpts and whatnot. So it's like stuff like that I just get a huge kick out of, getting to do something. And like yourself, it's like I love seeing somebody come and pick one up at a convention or something where they get that same kind of thrill out of it, seeing something that they grew up on, something that they liked. And the same thing when it comes to like working on Scarlet Huntress or something else that I'm involved where I've been there through the whole creation of it. That's a lot of fun. It's also a little bit of a struggle in trying to squeeze that kind of stuff in, but once it's done and I finally get to see that reward of it's out, it's published, and people are enjoying it, it's the same kind of feeling of I like to see people actually enjoying something I worked on.
Now, you said you're a huge He-Man, Masters of the Universe fan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they like remaking the movie or something? Did I hear something about that? Any of you guys?
I think I remember reading something about that in one of the.
They've been trying to do a new movie for a long time. I think they've got a. I mean, there's current. They're doing some comics out right now that are. I think DC's got a He-Man license that they're doing some crossover stuff with right now. That's
DC verse Masters of the Universe.
yeah,
I think
right,
is
that's
currently
right.
on
Yeah,
right now.
they are.
Yeah, and I saw something on one of the comic news sites the other day. They've got supposedly 4 directors that are up for the opportunity of directing Masters of the Universe. So I don't know, but they've been saying stuff like that for the last few years. So we'll see what happens.
What do you think of the first Masters of the Universe movie?
You know what? I was like,
Look at the look on his face. Like, well,
I liked it. I don't know.
I liked it. I was like 4 or 5 when it came out. So I mean, hey,
liked
That's the
He-Man.
thing. It's you go back and watch it now, and parts
It's
of it
kind
are
of-
just so
some of it's
horrible.
painful.
Like
yeah,
some of it, it's like, oh my god, this was my childhood. I love it. I don't care how bad it is. Like, even if
Exactly,
it was a
exactly.
movie.
Dude, I love that movie. I remember the toys that came out
Oh yeah,
in
Castle
Oh my
Grayskull
God.
and
right
stuff.
after it. Like it was awesome. I loved it.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna watch it later today. As a matter of fact, forget
It's
that.
like, I got 6 copies on the shelf. Screw this podcast. I'm out. I'm
Plus,
gonna
I mean-
watch He-Man.
And every time I watch the Expendables now, I keep hoping Dolph Lundgren will I have the power and turn into He-Man again.
Nice.
Or what was the little guy like? Was it Trog or
what-
Trog? What was
Waldorf.
it? Waldorf, yeah, running around, dude. Like, him come out of nowhere is like
Wait a
the
minute,
extra
did you say his name is
expendable.
Waldorf? Like the salad?
No, like Waldor, I think.
Oh,
I don't know,
Waldorf.
something
I was
like
like,
that.
what? They named him after a fucking salad? like, what the fuck?
Or did the salad get named after him?
Ooh, he is one of the masters of the universe, if you will.
Right.
So, on another topic, because I'm sure when you're at comic book conventions and stuff, you get grilled over the coals. Like, what are you working on? What's next? What's your favorite? This? What's your what are you reading right now? I'm sure you read comic books. What are you reading now?
I do. I haven't been reading them very consistently, but I did actually finally get to make a trek to the comic shop yesterday, and I picked up Superman Unchained.
I've been wanting to read that.
Awesome book.
I'm a
Awesome.
big Jim Lee nut, so I had to
His
get my
art is
fix of Jim
phenomenal.
Lee. So
Yeah.
Yeah, his art is killer. I just read recently Batman Hush.
oh yeah.
That's got the art in that is just amazing. It really is.
Jim Lee's art's kind of almost what got me into comics, because I started watching like the the '90s X-Men animated series, and when he took over the X-Men books, drawing those in the early '90s, it was like, oh my gosh, like those are the characters that that introduced me to comics. So
The cartoon just came to, or the book just came. Well, no, yeah, something
Yeah.
came to life, but
Yeah.
it would have been the book came to life. That's where I was going with that one.
Yeah.
Good call there.
Irrelevant statement at this point, I know, but
So, what are your the big topic right now in the comic book universe is the potential Batman Superman movie. We've covered it. We've actually avoided it for several weeks now because
talk
we
about it
talked
too
about
much.
it so much. But I'm interested from an artist standpoint. You're obviously like closely related with the comic book industry, so you get the back end of how stories are going, and you probably have at least a little bit more insight on some stuff than we do. But what are your thoughts on this whole movie?
I don't know. I'd love to see some concept art or something that gives us a clue to what we're going to be seeing. I mean, I get some of the idea of keeping it so secretive, and they want to make it a surprise when you see it on the big screen, which is fine, but at least show us what the heck Batman's going to look like. That's where I'm at right now. Is I want to see. I don't care if it's just a shot of the costume on a statue or whatever. I just want to see what Batman's going to look like. I'm kind of over the whole, giving Ben Affleck grief because he's the whole issue with Daredevil, now he's Batman. Whatever. I want to see what the costume looks like and see if they're going to stick a little closer to the comic books and, not do this whole Batman's got to be, black body armor.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought about it like that from the Nolan movies.
talking to somebody the other day, and apparently there's a rumor going around that a photo or photos are going to leak either this week or next week's or of Ben Affleck in costume. So hopefully it won't be a
interesting to
letdown.
see.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
I was just gonna say I'd love to see what it looks like. I mean, when they did the like promo for it out at San Diego, it was reading off the lines from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, the whole thing between Batman and Superman. So I'd like to see him. I don't necessarily want to see the old Batman with like the armor and whatnot, but I'd love to see something that's a little more in line with the comic book, with like the gray and the black. I've always loved the look of that Batman versus Predator. I forget what it was called, but that short little thing that one of the guys from
I just saw that
Stan Winston did. Yeah,
just yesterday actually.
I thought that was a great look, and I think it could be pulled off in a movie. And I think Marvel kind of one-upped everybody and proved, hey, you can put flashy, colorful costume in a movie, and it still makes sense. It still looks right.
Yeah, as long as you do it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Flash. We just saw the release of what his helmet's going to look like. I like it. I think it's just the right amount of kind of well, no pun intended, but flashy, but at the same time kind of has that realistic feel to it, to where it's it's not something that you're like, why is this dude wearing like leggings on his head or something? Like, I really like
those full body leotards.
Right. He's just wearing a pair of leotards upside down or some shit. Like, what the hell is this? I'm excited to see where they take that TV show for sure. Chris's favorite section is when we talk about the Arrow television show.
Yeah. So anyway, I found it interesting that you said, when he asked your feelings on the Superman Batman movie, and you went straight to the visuals, the look. Show me some concept art. And like I realized it's like, if you ask, I know. Pirate and myself are both musicians. If you ask anybody what they listen for in songs, they talk about like oh, that guitar track's awesome, or oh, those if they're a drummer, oh, that drum beat was really cool, or if they're more of a writer, they're like, oh, the lyrics are really good. Like different people pick certain things out of creative works, because it's what they look for in things. And you being an artist, is the art typically what you notice first about a movie or a TV show or a comic book? Like if the art's only so, I mean, is it just game over for you, or is that your primary focus when you're evaluating something?
I wouldn't say necessarily evaluating. That sounds like I'm doing too rigorous about looking at something.
But with your grading sheet and
this beer is not good.
Yeah.
It's not in good cans.
No, I'd say that art is pretty key when it comes to like picking up a new comic book series or something like that. Like I said, yesterday I picked up Superman Unchained because I wanted it for the Jim Lee art, and that's pretty integral when it comes to me for picking up a comic book. The story could be the greatest thing on the planet, but if I'm not into the artwork, into what it looks like, I usually put it back on the shelf, or it's not something I usually give a second look. It's not saying anything about the artist or skill or whatever. It's just got to be something that I'm actually drawn to and actually want to pick up and read.
Right.
I'd say it's probably the same for movies and TV. I mean, I want to see what stuff looks like visually, as far as the designs and the costumes and all that kind of stuff. That all comes into play. And like I said with the whole Batman thing, I'm tired of seeing just the black body armor type thing. They had that same motive when they did the X-Men movies. It's like, here, we got to put them in black leather because that's all we can do because it's a movie. And it's I want to see people kind of steer away from that a little bit.
And then they ended up making them look like that for a while in the comics because of the movie.
Exactly.
Now you said you mentioned that you're trying to get your book finished and everything here real soon, so that it's ready for the beginning of your con season. Do you go to a lot of cons? Just a few local ones? What's your schedule look like for 2014?
It's pretty crazy. I go to a whole lot of them. I've got basically once the first show I'm doing is Lexington Comic and Toy Convention down in
I
Lexington,
think we're going to be
Kentucky.
there.
Awesome. That basically kicks off convention season for me. I'll have that. I'll have, I think, a week off. I'm at Gem City Comic Con. Have a week or so off, then C2E2, and then it's Free Comic Book Day, and then Motor City, and the list just keeps going.
Gym City's in Dayton, yeah?
Yes.
Where are they doing that at this year?
The Nutter Center, the
Okay.
basketball arena at Wright State.
We may have to see you there, too. Jeez.
Yeah, there you
We're,
go.
we're local. We're local Ohio boys as well. So.
Okay. It's definitely worth the trip to come out and check it out. They got a heck of a guest list this year. Kevin Eastman's coming in. It's the 30th anniversary of Ninja Turtles, so can't
Awesome.
pass that up.
Yeah.
Awesome. God, I remember watching that one too.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, one of those childhood things, and that guy's going to be at the show, and I've actually met him a couple times out in San Diego because a buddy of mine is an even bigger Ninja Turtle nut than I am, and of course we had to go out and meet him, get the introduction, all that kind of mess.
On the Ninja Turtle note, before we go anywhere else, has anyone else seen the commercial that is floating around the internet of Vanilla Ice, singing the Ninja?
Yes.
Go Ninja,
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Oh, that
It's
is
fantastic.
the best. That is the best damn commercial I've seen, and I love it because if you talk to like younger kids and shit, they have no idea what that's about. Like they don't even have the slightest clue. They never will because, I mean, God, you probably can't even find a copy of that movie for the life of you.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
on the internet,
I saw,
you can. I'm
I
saying
saw
in the
this
store.
3-pack now. They sell this like a 3-pack. You can get like all 3 movies together in a case.
Yeah,
I still got them all on VHS, so I'm good.
Fucking
Yeah,
take
actually,
my money.
I saw the 3-pack DVD at Walmart just the other day. It's like $5. You get all 3 movies, and I think there's a different version where you get the animated one.
Mine's sitting about 10 feet from here. I might have to go watch it after we get done here.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that it's only $5 because it's like, wow, it's $5. I could totally just like fucking get that, no problem. It's no big deal. But then on the other hand, it's like, damn, that was my childhood.
I recommend
and
watching
it's only
it
worth
in Blu-ray.
$5 now.
Have you seen? They did a behind the scenes video too, like Vanilla Ice
The
talking about
making
how they
of?
approached him, like the making of that commercial.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Oh, I'm sure it's
I
fantastic.
think that came out. I think that might have came out with the Pizza Hut back in the '80s when they did, or the '90s when they did it. They had a Pizza Hut contract, and I think you could get because they had a cassette tape you can get, and it was like the
if you
Teenage
ordered
Mutant
like
Turtles
enough
singing.
pizzas or something, you got the
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles.
you got the tape, and it was
cassette
like they was all singing songs and stuff, and then
I
it
ate
came
the
with like
shit
another.
out
like,
of some
spin-
pizzas that year. I'm just telling you. Right now.
They're coming out with Ninja Turtle,
Calls me to be a fat kid.
and it's for Ninja Turtle mac and cheese. Like
Right.
I want to go buy some Ninja Turtle mac and cheese
Just
now.
stick it-
Like that
just stick it on
commercial
your
totally
nunchuck.
worked.
That's
Advertising works.
That's an age of times right there. Is when you think like what cartoons and stuff did. Popeye encouraged kids to eat spinach to get strong. Turtles encouraged them to eat pizza to get
Man,
strong.
dude,
You know what I mean?
my parents used the whole Popeye thing on me. Like, eat your spinach like Popeye, so you can be
Yeah,
strong
that shit
when you
didn't
get
fly
old.
at my house.
house.
I was like, I want to be like Michelangelo. Give me a fucking pie.
What? So what? When you were growing up, what were your like go-to like toys and obviously you were drawn to like comic book action figure type stuff. I'm sure. What was the number one?
Geez, number one. That's really tough to pick.
Or number 1 through 7, whatever.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Like I mentioned earlier, He-Man, Masters of the Universe stuff. Transformers, G.I. Joe. Ninja Turtles came along a little bit later. I don't know. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones I still like. I'll collect some of the stuff. Last couple of years, I've been going after some of the masterpiece Transformers. And
You might be a long lost cousin of one of ours or something.
It could be. We're all in Ohio, right? I mean, it's possible.
It's theoretically possible. Yeah, we all collect various stuff. I know Pirate he's got a ton of old He-Man, and you got the castles and everything, don't you, Pirate?
No, I don't. I think that's Chris has, or Topher's got all the He-Man stuff. I have a few He-Mans. Most of mine is I got all of the
G.I. Joe,
Super
that's what it
Friends, G.I. Joe. I got a buttloads of that, and Mask.
Oh, yeah.
Mask was another big toy that I had a lot of. I had a few Transformers too. I think I still got them at my parents' house somewhere, but yeah, most of that stuff. Oh, what's Chris got? Her Topher.
I don't know. He's coming back with something.
He always pulls something out randomly. Like his living room's got to be just full of.
I know. It's just
it's
like a damn
toy
Toys
store.
R Us exploded.
I got my Cringer with Battle Cat mask here.
Nice.
We can put Leonardo, the original Leonardo figurine on top of it.
We got a little mixed
What do
bag
you
for you. Oh,
It's a lot of green.
I think somebody either got a movie idea or there's a lawsuit about to happen.
How about Superman, the old Super Friends Superman action figure with Krang on his head? What do you think?
Oh god.
Nice.
I think you're shitting
Make a
on all the
replacement for
boundaries.
Starro.
Hey, this could be an awesome crossover. You don't know.
That's true. We do. I mean, that's true. We do have DC Universe versus Masters of the Universe right now.
Who would win in a fight, Shredder or Skeletor?
Now that's something
Let's
I'd
find
pay to
out.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd pay to see that. Oh my goodness! So as you can tell, we are all about just having, kicking back, enjoying our Sundays, doing a little bit of podcasting. Well, we actually post these on Wednesdays. We record them on Sundays, post on Wednesdays.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's all about just sitting back, having some fun, drinking a little bit of beer, and talking shop, if you will. So, big plans for your future. Do you have any big new projects that are on the horizon? I'm sure everybody, as an artist or someone in the comic book industry, that's pretty much the standard popular question. Like, what's the next big thing? Tell me. Give me that little bit of crack. I need a little more.
One more hit.
I've got 3 or 4 different books I'm working on right now with a couple different folks. I just finished up coloring the last handful of pages for a book called Pirate Queen. Clint Holinsky, hope I'm saying that right. He ran a Kickstarter for that book, Pirate Queen. It's a, I believe, 60-page graphic novel that he's putting out. So that's one I just finished. Should be coming out pretty soon. He also hired me on to color a book of his called Superiors. It's another same type of thing. It was a graphic novel he did on Kickstarter. So I'm supposed to work on that one. It's another giant 50 or 60-page project. And then after that one's finished, he's got yet another one for me called Fairy Tales versus Monsters. So far, I've only seen the couple of cover pieces and promo pieces he had me color for the Kickstarter, but it was basically like Snow White, Cinderella, and Red Riding Hood versus the classic Universal monsters.
nice.
That sounds pretty
That
cool.
is something I can get behind there. That sounds cool.
It's
That
got like a
sounds relevant
little,
to my
it's got like a little steampunk influence to it, so it looks pretty interesting. So I'm excited to get to work on it and see what the finished product looks like. So those are the couple of projects I got lined up with him. And I just finished up a few different projects with Marat Michaels. A few months back, I colored an issue of his book called Blindside. It was issue 2. And he's also got another book called Naughty and Nice. It's kind of, think of like the 90s bad girl movement, where it was, like good girl, bad girl
Stonewashed
type.
jeans.
Not quite that much, but
Like a tank girl feel to it.
He's like, no, you're an
it's-
idiot. Shut up.
You can tell him that. We do. All
Yeah,
that.
they tell me all the time. It's totally cool. He's like,
I'm trying-
no.
it's like I don't know, maybe a little Danger Girl meets Deadpool, I guess is the best way to describe it. I did one issue. It was a Christmas special that came out back in December. I actually got to draw a couple pages of it, and I colored a handful of pages for it. And then he did, I think he's starting up like a new volume of it, so I actually grayscaled a issue for it. He did this whole like riff on Walking Dead. The cover is even an homage to like the first appearance of Michonne. So the two main characters are being dragged on the chains by
around their neck.
yeah, and they're being dragged around by a zombified Michonne type character. And then the whole book is done in that grayscale look of Walking Dead, and even a guy that sure looks a lot like Robert Kirkman shows up in part of it.
Nice.
Wow.
So I've been doing several projects with him, and he's having me like help him out with like prints and commissions for conventions and whatnot. So those are the things that I know that I've for sure got lined up and have been working on. Outside of that, it's just kind of waiting to see how the convention season goes, see if I pick up any projects, see what happens.
Now, do you
Nice.
do you prefer to draw or to color?
I probably would prefer to draw a little bit more, but I don't know. I get hired out more for the coloring, and I think I would agree with most folks that I probably can do a little bit more justice with coloring people's work than sometimes I'm drawing my own stuff. Just think the skill level is a little bit higher on one versus the other, so I think that's why I get a little more projects doing that. So it's fun. I get to work with a lot of different folks. Heck, even late last year, I got to work with Rob Liefeld, and
Oh, wow.
he had me color a Deadpool Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles commission that he did. And Rob was definitely one of the guys I grew up admiring his work and stuff, and I got to meet him at San Diego this past summer, and he's like, yeah, sure, I wanna work with you. And a couple months later, he sends me an email out of the blue, hey, you available to color this? We've got to stay in touch a little bit here and there, so it's been fun. Hopefully some more stuff will come, from him, and I'll get to work with him a little bit more.
Now, when you
That's
talk
pretty
about
neat.
commissions, do you do a lot of commissions or?
Yeah, I usually will do a handful each month that I'll try to fit in between doing other projects. I've already even started a list for some of the conventions that are coming up. I'll do anything from just like quick like pen and ink sketches that are like 8.5 by 11 size, all the way up to doing full blown. I'll do commissions as like cover projects for like small press publishers, to where I'll do pencils, inks, colors, the whole works. So everything in between there, and I'll, like I said, probably do like a small handful each month.
Now, if somebody's interested in getting a Sean Forney commission, where do they go? Here's where you selflessly pitch yourself. Ready, go.
The easiest spot to connect and get all the information, it's real simple. It's SeanForney.com. SeanForney.com. But that's got a link to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Store Envy, the whole mess. So people can contact me through that. Hit me up on Facebook like you guys did. Pretty easy to get a hold of. All I really need is a message or an email saying, hey, I want this, and that's about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, any chance we might see, a Skeletor versus Shredder print at one of these cons coming up soon?
Heck, that could be a possibility. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Screw
Yeah,
that.
when
I want the Superman with Krang on his head. Like I want to be there at the con. Not like I want to be there when you like are amongst your artist peers and you put it up on the wall and like uncover it and they're like, what the fuck is that? like damn, that's
Where
really
did you
good
come
art
up with
and
that?
the colors are amazing, but what the fuck is it? Like why? Oh man.
It might cause a riot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. You might be getting letters from the people that owns the rights to those characters before too long after that. Like,
Yeah.
why did you shit on our character?
What the fuck did you do?
Why?
So, oh man. So I think when I saw your booth at the Cincinnati Comic Expo last year, I think the one that drew my attention was the the He-Man one here over my shoulder,
Bring that up close to the camera so we can see it.
Like you said, it was like my childhood. Like, oh my god, I love those characters. We're gonna get all kinds of glare off of the protective plastic here, but yeah,
That's
it's a really cool print. Like, I've always been a huge fan of He-Man, and like your take on the characters was just really badass. I love the way they look, and like I've seen a lot of like other cartoony versions or this and that, and like it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I wouldn't want to hang that up. This one I saw, I'm like, oh, like that's the kind of portrayal that I wouldn't mind seeing. But the other one, that we got, and surprisingly, we've managed to make it this far through a conversation about all things childhood and nerdy, and we haven't mentioned Star Wars yet.
I was watching it yesterday.
I saw, and I saw this one that you did too, and I remember I even stopped to ask you. I was like, oh my god, I was like, is that an original character? Is that from something? What is that? Because it looks so cool, and so like I really like that one too. But you did a few years ago. You actually did some work for some kind of through Lucasfilm for some kind of Star Wars convention or weekend thing. Like you did a T-shirt and patch design or something like that. Like how cool is that? Like getting to do something for Star Wars, like, because that for me is like one of the big properties. Like one of the holy grails is like, oh my god, Star Wars. Like how did it feel getting to do something for that?
It was really cool. I believe the guy that contacted me is a member of the 501st, the Stormtrooper, the guys who do all the charity stuff and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Basically, every year for the last however many years, Disney does Star Wars weekends at the Hollywood Park there in Florida. And part of that, they do a Star Wars parade. All the members of the 501st go through, they do the parade and the march and all that kind of mess. Anybody that was there that participated in it got that shirt and one of those embroidered patch things.
And you designed the shirt?
Yeah, I did the shirt, and they used kind of a cutout version of that for the patch. It was one of the clone troopers, just like the helmet was used on the patch, and we did some text around it too. I believe I did the 2009 and the 2010 shirt and patch. It started out, like I said, the guy got a hold of me. He does some screen printing stuff, so he was part of the group and got asked to do it. The first one was initially supposed to be, he wanted like every variation of like Stormtrooper and Clone Trooper armor, and I gave him the quote on the price for doing that, and he wasn't very thrilled. So we narrowed it down to 3. Yeah. So
how many variations are there? I mean, there's got to be.
Jeez.
Oh, there's a ton.
Yeah. I think I was able to like just do a quick Google search and find a bunch of images, and I think I ended up with like probably like 20 different variations of it, something like that. And like I said, I was like,
that'd be a badass shirt, but damn.
Oh yeah,
It'd take forever to draw.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said I threw him the quote, and he's like, yeah, no, here's our budget. I was like, okay, let's do 3.
Wow, yeah, that's funny.
And then, funny how people's ideas change when you put money in there.
Yeah, I want this and this and this and this and this. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. And then the 2010 shirt, we kind of had a similar idea where we stuck with like the 3 characters and whatnot, but we did Darth Vader and 2 Stormtroopers, and the 2 Stormtroopers are holding the Mickey Mouse shaped ice cream bars. And like
nice.
One of the ice cream bars is like melting and dripping on the Stormtrooper, and Darth Vader's just kind of standing there in between them. But it was a lot of fun.
You've just crushed the rebellion and brought order to the galaxy. What are you going to do next? We're going to Disney World.
We're going to Disney World. That's fucking great.
It was a lot of fun to get to work on some Star Wars stuff. I can't believe I forgot to mention that when going through the list of other stuff that I grew up on and whatnot. I was watching Empire Strikes Back on Spike yesterday just for the heck of it, because she got home and was like, ooh, it's on TV, I'm going to watch it.
Just because it's awesome.
I know.
Pass it up.
Every time they have it on, even though there's commercials, I just sit there and watch it. It's like I could pop in the Blu-ray that I have sitting 3 feet to the left, but I'm going to watch it because it's on TV.
Exactly. I was sitting down, we were running around running a bunch of errands and whatnot yesterday, so when we got home and I actually saw it was on TV, so I turned it on. I was trying to work on a couple different projects and
didn't get anything done at all.
No, I actually did get some stuff done, so I was just kind of like letting it play in the background, and then got a little bit later and I was like, hey, you know what, we picked up Thor, let's watch Thor: The Dark World.
So it's such a good movie.
And If
Oh,
you
did you
guys
finally see it, Fox?
Yeah, I bought it on Amazon Instant. I've been doing a lot of stuff on the Amazon Instant stuff, and I finally picked it up and watched it. It's pretty awesome.
did you guys see the All Hail the King short that's on there?
No,
is
I
that
haven't
the
watched
short
that
I
yet.
think
that's
I've
at
seen
the
it.
end?
Yeah, or it's a
It's-
bonus thing, ain't it?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
thing with Ben
The guy who plays
Kingsley.
Mandarin. Yeah, Ben
Yeah.
Kingsley.
I didn't get to watch the whole thing. It was like I watched it late at night, and that didn't come on till like 1:00 in the morning. I was like, oh god, I'm fucking tired. So I'm gonna go
Well,
back.
it
and
might
watch
not
it,
be
but-
on Amazon Instant because
No,
Yeah, I don't have-
you get all the bonus features.
Yeah,
I don't have the
it
disc,
came
so
with,
I haven't seen it yet.
It came with the bonus exclusive like short film or whatever that was at the end.
Okay.
I just didn't. I saw like the first 30 seconds or minute and a half or whatever of it, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to stay awake through this." So I might as well watch it.
It's only
later.
like I think it's only like 5 minutes or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's that short. Oh shit! Now I wish I
Yeah,
would
it's not long.
Damn.
Fucking narcoleptic over there. Like,
Dude,
5 minutes?
yeah.
I don't think I can.
That's basically how it works, man. Dude, I hit the wall and it's.
He's got like
fucking
4
game
half
over.
beers open all over the place and falls
Game
asleep.
over. Yeah, once I hit the wall, that's pretty much all she wrote. So, well, let's talk for just a minute about we covered your upcoming schedule, where people can find you at the different comic book conventions, where they can find you online if they want to do commissions or see a listing of your art or anything like that. Is there anything?
Now, where can they find you at home if they want to stop?
Yeah, right. What's the best way to start? Is there anything that you want to add? Anything that you got going on that you want to pitch or anything like that?
I just say check out my website, like I said, SeanForney.com, and hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that, so you can see all the stuff that I post. I'll usually post like in progress looks at commissions or projects that I'm working on. And yeah, if anybody's listening that's waiting for the Scarlet Huntress Kickstarter stuff, it is coming. I've been trying to keep everybody updated with what's happening, but I am going to try to get it finished, off to the printers, and it's going to take a little bit of time for everything to get here from the printer. So everybody that did back it and backed at particular level will get digital copies of it through drive-through, just like I did with the previous issues. So yeah, that's what I've been up to, and I think that's what I'm going to try to get everybody to keep an eye on.
And I will personally vouch for Sean. He is very, very approachable, very, very easy to communicate with. If you have a question for him, do like he said, don't hesitate. Jump on Facebook, Twitter, look him up. I mean, I found his work through I think it was through comicrelated.com. I'm not 100% sure where I stumbled onto your website, but I found his Facebook page, sent him a message, and I was blown away because it was like 5 minutes later he's sending me messages back, and it was like, this is great, and so, when somebody's involved in the comic book industry from a fan standpoint, they're not always the most receptive to people trying to reach out to them all the time. So, on that end, guys, if you have questions for him, or if you want a commission or anything like that, you want to see some of his work, make sure you look him up. Sean, we really, really appreciate you being here on the episode today. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and sign out. I think we're about out of time here. Pirate,
See you guys.
Topher,
Thanks for watching.
Mr. Sean Forney.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It was a great time. It was a lot of fun. Had a blast.
All right, fantastic. And we will see you guys again next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on New Comic Book Day.